Welcome back to the Boot Tragedies. So it looks like Derek Carr will be signing back, or not signing back. He's already with the team. Will be playing quarterback for the New Orleans Saints next year. You can read John Hendricks' tweet right here. There's been a lot of tweets about it as well. Have also heard the Saints plan to roll with Derek Carr in 2025. They'll have to figure out financials, but this seems to be the play. That's just been breaking over the last 5 to 10 minutes. It was kind of expected, honestly. A lot of fans, including myself, a lot of people was wishing that we moved on from Derek Carr, but financially, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense when you sign him to the deal to move on from him right now. So he was going to be on the roster this season, even if we had hopes and prayers that he wouldn't. He was going to be on the roster this season. Just the Saints are in bad cap situation as it is. The cap is going up, so they'll still get a little ahead of it. And the restructure is going to happen. It's just an automatic thing in his contract, so that's gonna be on the table, and they're gonna have to figure that part out. And the Saints, we did this to ourselves. Let's start there. The Saints have nobody to blame in this situation but themselves and Dennis Allen. You went to hire Dennis Allen, who already proved he was not a good head coach. You went for him to go get his quarterback, who he already failed with, who's proven he wasn't a good NFL quarterback. And now you put yourself with a bad quarterback and a bad head coach, and guess what you came up with? A bad football team. What did he do? Who would have thought? Who would have thought if you hired a bad football coach and a bad quarterback that your football team was going to suck? Not Mickey Loomis, not him, of course. So that's the situation we were in. We can look at Derek Carr contract. I thought I had that pulled up, but obviously we can just go to restructure because that's probably what's going to happen. So you're basically going to save about $30 million if you restructure him. The cap number is $51 million right now. That's just not going to happen. That cap number can't be $51 million. So they're going to figure out the numbers. And that's just right here. The Saints can get creative. They can do a bunch of things with this cap. And let's see what they do. We've always been creative when it comes to that. Obviously, next year that cap hit is $61 million. That's just not going to happen. I can guarantee that he won't be on the roster after 2025 unless he has an amazing season and just goes crazy, which I'm not holding my breath on that. So for the Saints, this could mean a lot of things, man. So Kellen Moore, he's going to be stuck with the quarterbacks he have, in my opinion. It's going to be Derek Carr, it's going to be Jake Haener, and it's going to be Spencer Rattler. Now, first-year head coach, I'm sure he didn't want to come in with that, but this just shows that the Saints are going to have patience. So this year is basically going to be null and void for Kellen Moore. In my eyes, it was already going to be that. But now you have 3 quarterbacks on the roster, and you may not want any of them. And the offensive guy, a former quarterback, to have 3 quarterbacks on the roster, which you don't have any say-so on, is just what you walked into. You walked into a pile of shit, and that's just is what it is. So he's going to have those 3 guys as his quarterbacks. And we could talk about the draft. I was going to do a video on the quarterbacks in the draft, but I'm glad that this kind of came out right now because I think all the quarterbacks stink in the draft. I'm just going to be quite honest. I think Cam Ward has the best arm talent. He's the best quarterback that I watched out of all the quarterbacks I watched. But it just wasn't what I expected. Those guys did not look the greatest. Let's just go NFL draft quarterback ranking. So I can kind of talk about all these guys that I watched. I watched about 5, 6 guys. We'll just go with whoever. But I'll keep talking about Cam Ward, man. He has some zip on that football. He throws a hard ball, throws a good ball. Wasn't accurate all the time, but really, really accurate at times. Big quarterback, throwing people off of him, can move a little bit. Like he's the best quarterback in my opinion. When I was looking at the quarterbacks, do have Shedeur Sanders. I honestly think he has an average NFL arm. It reminds me a lot of Joe Burrow. I don't think Joe Burrow is a top 5 or a top 10 quarterback arm in the NFL, but he has a lot of intangibles that he brings, leadership things that he brings, and obviously Joe Burrow is still a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. You don't need the strongest arm to be that. So Shedeur Sanders kind of reminds me of that. Not really a runner, just like Joe Burrow, but can run, can create outside the pocket, can create with his legs. So I do see some similarities there. He's not Joe Burrow by any stretch of the imagination. And maybe if you give him Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and guys like that, maybe he can become something like that. But super accurate, the most accurate quarterback I saw in this group of guys. So I like Shedeur Sanders, but I think he's a first-round quarterback? No. I think he's a second-round guy, third-round guy, just off, what I saw on the tape. Nothing wrong with that. I do obviously think he has the hype. He's Deion Sanders' son. He turned Jackson State around. He turned Colorado around. And I mean, that's something you just can't look past. But Cam Ward was the only possible first-round quarterback I saw in all these guys. Jackson Dart, I'm not sold. Didn't like what I saw on tape. Had some good games, had some good moments, but honestly, I mean, that's a fourth round guy in my opinion. Somebody may feel froggy. I don't think any of these quarterbacks are honestly really top 3 rounds outside of Cam Ward, and I still think he's a project guy. But Jackson Dart's a 4th round quarterback in my opinion. He's Spencer Rattler. I don't think he's that much better than Spencer Rattler for you to just, take another quarterback in the draft. Quinn Ewers, a very, very inconsistent man. He's more Spencer Rattler than Jackson Dart actually, because he was a former guy that they thought was going to be a top 10 picks, kind of fell. Now he's probably going to be 3rd, 4th rounder. Inconsistent. Once again, Jalen Miro, absolutely not a good quarterback. I'm sorry, not a good quarterback. Don't let the Jalen Hurts and all the athletic quarterbacks fool you, and Jaden Daniels and whoever you want to name. He's not that guy. I'm sorry. All the questions Lamar Jackson got coming out of college that he should be a running back or receiver, that's what Jalen Miro should be getting. He's just not a very, very good quarterback. Processing real slow, made bad decisions. You turn that bowl game on. It was raining and wet, but it looks very, very bad for him. Riley Leonard, absolute the hell not. Absolute not. Got some physical traits like they say right here, but no way. He just wasn't good. Kyle McCord, I actually like Kyle McCord. He's one of the better tapes I saw. Surprisingly, I didn't know too much about him. I know he was at Ohio State, but he looked good at Syracuse at a moment. Will Howard, okay guy. The rest of these guys I really look at. Yeah, this quarterback class is very, very underwhelming, and I'm glad the Saints hopefully won't take any of these people. But back to Derek Carr, back to the Saints. We can read this tweet as well. Derek Carr is expected to be the Saints starting quarterback next season. GM Mickey Loomis and Carr and new head coach Kellen Moore met and indicated the meeting went well. Back in January, Carr made it clear he wouldn't take a pay cut on a $51.4 million cap hit, but a restructure is likely with him. Not is likely, it will happen because that's just the way the contracts are built. Like I said, the Saints put themselves in this situation, man. Gave this man a no trade clause for absolutely what? Look at that dumbass smirk on his face. So we'll see. We'll see what they do with this contract. We'll see when the contract is made, basically what it means. It's gonna mean he's done after this season completely. You'll be able to tell once those numbers come out, and everything like that. But yeah, we're gonna be going into the season with the same quarterbacks we had last season. I would rather go into this this offseason with 0 quarterbacks in our quarterback room right now. Like the Giants, I think are in a good situation. They have 0 quarterbacks on the roster. I would rather have 0 than the 3 we have right now. I promise you. And it may sound crazy, but I would rather have 0 because you got the Matthew Stafford stuff looming. You got the Aaron Rodgers stuff looming. Now, I don't want Aaron Rodgers, but that's just saying, like, I would rather have no quarterbacks than the 3 we have. And I like Rattler. I like Rattler. I wish Rattler starts next year. But if you had to choose all 3 or 0, I would choose 0. So we'll see how this plays out, man. This is news that I expected. Was hoping I never got to see though, because I wanted to see if Mickey Loomis had the cojones to just cut Carr and cut ties with the Dennis Allen era. It's like you want to cut ties with the Sean Payton era. Time to cut ties with the Dennis Allen era, and Derek Carr would be the number 1 on that boat. But this goes to show me that the Saints aren't going to make the tough decisions. Obviously, we're still not going to make the tough decisions on Cam Jordan, on Tyrann Mathieu, on Derek Carr, on guys that we need to make tough decisions on. It doesn't seem like the tough decisions will be made. It doesn't seem like it, and it doesn't shock me because it's looking like it's going to be the same old bullshit for the 2025-2026 season. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is the one that they had to do, and maybe other cuts are coming, other big things are going to happen, but don't hold your breath because I'm not. But thank you all for tuning in once again. As always, this is Taboo Tragedies, and I'm out.